to Bluejay Chat. I'm your host, Nathan Meyer. Alongside me, as always, Dr. John Sample. John, it's just you and me today.
It is. It's just us, and it's summertime.
Yep, but we got a lot of things to still go over, right?
We sure do. This being the longest day of summer, that doesn't mean that the work has stopped. We had a great board meeting last night. Talked about a lot of things, and as always, we talk about the celebrations and recognitions. That's the way we like to start our board meetings, on a very, very positive note. Last night we recognized Jared Olaf. He placed 8th in the state for the triple jump, which is huge. That's a big honor for him, and he represented Merrill very well. Also, 5th place for state golf was Russell Detmering. That's 5th place out of 105 golfers, and so that really puts Merrill on the map too, and it allows him to showcase his talents. He's a fantastic golfer. I've seen him play locally, and I can't keep up with him. And then finally too, and this kind of addresses some of our community conversation priorities as far as being able to market and brand our district. Our own Tricia Dietert, principal at Washington Elementary, is next year she's the president-elect of ASA, which is the Association of Wisconsin School Administrators. That is our state association for all building principals. And then for 1920, she will be the president of ASA. And I don't know that that's happened in recent history for even this area, to have somebody representing not only us, but north central Wisconsin.
Yeah, I can't say I've heard of that through our district or even through this area, so that's very impressive on her part, and we want to congratulate her on that.
Yes, she's worked very hard to get where she's at, and then finally, even on a national level, our Director of Technology Integration, Kesha Mashik, she was published in the EdTech Digest, and that's a national publication, and her article was How We Did Professional Development That Matters. And so between those two ladies and all of our administrators, really very high achieving. They take what they do to heart, and they're very, very good at what they do.
Speaking of very, very good at what they do, graduation just happened. We had our episode last month about it, but I mean, the celebration went off again really without a hitch. Shannon Murray does a great job with that. So
Shannon Murray brought back a lot of traditions, and the graduation ceremony, even if you don't have any children graduating or grandchildren graduating, it's really nice to see the traditions, the way our young people have achieved, and to be able to shake the hands of every graduate that crosses the stage. Mr. Blake, president of our school board, and I have that honor every year, and so it's really fantastic.
And this was his first year to do that.
That's right.
Hopefully
And
he's got more to go.
And many more to go, and it's our smallest graduating class of 154 students, but they also earned $2.1 million in scholarships, so they were small yet mighty. We recognize those scholarship winners at the senior awards night. And so when you've got a student that's going to go to West Point, and you've got another student going to the Air Force Academy, and yet another one going to Notre Dame with a 4-year full ride scholarship, that really says a lot to the instruction that those students receive, the parents that support them, and as well as those kids as being extremely hard workers. So it was really a nice culminating event for the school year.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Quick math. How much money did you say?
$2.1 million.
How many students?
Divided by 154.
Equals? Per student?
A pretty large amount.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's a huge amount.
If my math serves me correctly, that's a huge amount of money.
More money than I make in a year. So.
Yeah, and we had higher than average numbers of students going to post-secondary training, going to NTC, which, as you know, they're in our own backyard. NTC has been a fantastic partner. We've got students that actually earned enough classes through dual enrollment and youth options and AP courses that they're already about 1 year ahead of most college freshmen. And so they're going to come in to essentially their sophomore year. Some of these kids are going to be going to NTC for a year and a half, and be in the workforce, which is really, really nice for them.
Right, it's really nice for them, especially since, like you said, they're right in their own backyard, so they can still stay at home. They don't have to buy a dorm room or rent a dorm room or anything like that. They could just stay with their parents if they really have to.
Yeah, they could. And if I had to go back and do things over again myself, that would be the best option. Now, you try to tell John Sample, who's 17 years old, that he's going to continue living at home. I might have different opinions, but...
I was the same way. You told me I was going to college at 18 years old. I would have laughed in your face.
Exactly. I wanted to get as far away as I could, but with that comes cost. And so our partnership with NTC and the partnerships that they've established. In fact, I was just recently at an NTC breakfast, and they're partnering with so many different universities. It happened to be a contract with Merrill University that for tech ed teachers, now they can start at NTC. Merrill will come to them at NTC and then finish out the next 2 years of educating them as to how to be a teacher. And so in 4 years, without leaving NTC, you can teach tech ed because they've recognized there's such a shortage there.
Wow, and that's incredible that all these universities now are coming together, because it used to just be that they'd always fight for each student. Now they're all just like, well, let's just all work together and get the best educational systems that we can, especially here in Wisconsin.
Right, and when you're talking about reciprocal credit or credits transferring, a lot of times students would, excuse me, would have to make that choice. I know in Arizona we had community colleges, and there were several credits that you would take at the community college that a university wouldn't accept. And so that pretty much funneled you into who's going to accept all of my credits. But now, even with UW Marathon County being a portion of UWSP, you can go pretty much anywhere from NTC and have every credit that you've done count towards the area that you're going to get involved with.
Right, so. Exactly. Other cool things that are going on in this district, the school forest, always a great place. What's going on out there right now?
The school forest just did their school forest annual report. They submitted that to UWSP, and it was no surprise to us that they ranked as outstanding again. The school forest is also offering programs for summer school. Every one of their programs are full of students. In fact, they had a waiting list. If somebody doesn't show up, there's somebody waiting to get in. They've introduced archery this year. They still have their athletic camps. They've got their camp for females and their camp for the males. Russ Nolan has done a wonderful job, as well as our friends of the school forest. And so that's one of our best kept secrets, really, that I don't think people realize how valuable that is.
Right, and I don't know if it's really a best kept secret, because we haven't really kept it a secret as much.
We put it out as much as we can.
We sat there and said, hey, this is the best thing that I remember even as a kid.
Sure.
So it's like, how this is still a secret, beyond me, but some people still don't know about it. So.
I'm still surprised by people that show up there for the first time, even though their children may have gone on field trips and spent the night at the school forest, and they're like, wow, I didn't realize that this is what it was. And so there's a lot of people involved with that, a lot of behind the scenes work, and it really, really is a fantastic resource for our students, as well as our adults. I like going out there for trainings because you can't get me to leave.
Yeah, I like going out there just because it's such a beautiful facility. So, and the whole yard area is always fantastic. Going out to the Beaver Dam, it's like
absolutely.
There's several cool things out there.
So other end of the year things, we wrapped up with recognizing our retiring teachers. You know, it's always sad to shake their hand and wish them well, but it's just as exciting to welcome any new faces to our Bluejay family. So because of the successful referendum, we've been able to compensate our teachers accordingly. And so we're very competitive with area districts. The compensation package that we offer our teachers has them starting at the same rate that they would start if they went to Wausau or DC Everest or Tomahawk. So we're real excited about that. There's a lot of people that really want to call Merrill their home. You know, some of the other things when I mentioned the referendum too is some of the technology maintenance projects that are taking place in the district right now with Dale Bergman and his guys. They're doing a wonderful job. Not only do they have to keep our buildings in shape, but they're replacing some steps and a couple of doors over at the middle school. They're replacing the tile on the third floor, kind of a safety hazard. So there's been a lot of things that are made possible with the support of the community. And then finally, we were able to hire a top-notch Fab Lab director. That's a new position this year because we said that we wanted to invest money in enhancing our tech ed programs. And so we've got a staff of 4 now at the high school, And those referendum dollars will also go not only for the high school, but to the middle school with the Honor Flight Pen Project and everything that Pete McConnell is doing there, all the way down to our maker spaces at the elementary. So it's a real exciting time to be a Blue Jay right now. It's a real busy time. I know that our teachers are off and hopefully enjoying their summer and getting some rest, but there's a lot of activity going on right now.
Right, and speaking of Dale Bergman and his staff, we got Jay Stadium. In the final phase, we're going to have some brand spanking new bathrooms over there and new concession area too. Isn't
that exciting? It's neat watching it go up. I get a chance every now and then to go out and see the progress. It looks like everything is on track for our first home football game, and I think that the community, I know that the community is very proud of that because it was built with community dollars. I can't say it enough that the only money that we set aside as a district to go into Jay Stadium was for grass seed and dirt and the labor in leveling that field as a grass playing surface. But somebody had an idea and there was a lot of people involved. Jay Wicke was one of those that said, hey, what if we did a turf? What if we did a turf field? What if we did enhancements that look like this? And so that's really where the idea started. And because of River Valley Bank and the Bierman Foundation and many others and private donations, what we're going to see in the fall is as a result of community support, and it's just going to be a great venue.
Right, and I can't say enough that we've had, playoff games happen there with everyone coming saying this is one of the best facilities in the area.
Yes,
they love it, and I know last fall we had an icy football game and everyone was kind of concerned, but there was no problems out on the field with ice. It was mostly on the stands, but
right,
there's not a whole lot we could do about that, is there?
No, but the players on the field had a great surface to play on. We've even brought lacrosse clubs from down south up here, and they want to come back. They loved the field. The field is compatible, the turf that we picked out is compatible for not only football, but soccer. As you can imagine, if you were to play soccer at University of Wisconsin in Madison, you play soccer on that field in Camp Randall, that soccer ball will just keep on going. If it would go outside the stadium if it could, because their turf is meant for football. This is an all-purpose turf. Very proud of it, and we're very fortunate that a lot of teams want to come here, and they are willing to travel here.
Right, and that's an awesome feeling for us. What other projects are going on right now, John? We've got, I know it's summer, everyone thinks, oh, school district's out, no more, but no, there's a lot of stuff that's actually going on around here.
There is a lot of stuff. Bridges Virtual Academy, our BVA program, they just got approved last night to take a couple of half-time positions to full-time because they're growing. They're going to be at approximately 750 students now for next year. Open enrollment and enrolling in a virtual academy is always kind of tricky. Mr. Hagemeister is not going to know what he's got until that third Friday count in September, with their enrollment count. And because people, when they open enroll somewhere, they have three choices in which they can select. And so once all of the dust settles with the open enrollment, he should be at 750 plus students, which is good. He's always got a waiting list every year. And so when BVA grows, Merrill Area Public Schools grow because they're not separate. They are one of our schools. They just happen to service students that are statewide.
And they just had their graduation not too long ago too here at the high school.
They did. And while I was unable to attend, I know Mr. Blake went, and that's always a great ceremony. It's always been held off campus before, but this time they brought it in the high school, and so I think those students that from as far away as Milwaukee that got to travel up for their graduation got to see, hey, this is where BVA is located because it's a virtual education environment. So that was really, really cool too.
Yeah, it was definitely a good ceremony too. I can't say enough about that.
Yeah.
So what other things have we got going on? I mean, I know we're in summertime. Everyone sits here says we don't do anything during summer. But there's got to be some kept secret that always keeps us running, right?
Oh, absolutely. Summertime is probably the only time when central office administrators, or Shannon Murray, he's a 12-month administrator, can try to get a few days off rather than taking any days off during the school year. So we try to overlap those days a little bit so that we're all not gone, for a couple of days all at the same time. but we're already ramping up things for next year. Gerald Byers talking about our main initiatives of professionalism and professional development opportunities for our teachers. We've got that going on. We're real busy crunching the numbers with our student MAP testing scores, making changes there. And so everything is really in high gear. Myself, I'm going to be able to go on vacation next week, but a little nervous because there's so many things to do before we open the doors again in the fall. Before we know it, students will be back in our buildings, and all of the hard work that we've done over the summer is going to start to pay off.
Well, it's not like students aren't already in the doors anyways. We got all of our athletes that are always coming in just wanting to keep in shape and wanting to keep working out in here. So
Sure.
that says something to them.
Just stopped in the weight room, and they've got quite a crew in there working out. You've got students here working out. We've got our student helpers with Dale Bergman and his guys. We still have summer school going on too. And so Kate Goodrich is just hopping with students. This is our biggest and best year ever with our summer school enrollment. And then if I were to go out to the school forest next week, that's going to be hustling and bustling too. So this is really, there's no downtime here for the school district. This is a really busy time.
No, there's not. I mean, we got past the busy part of all the graduation stuff. But
Right.
we're still kicking in high gear like we always are. So
Absolutely. We keep working, and we're Bluejay proud.
Bluejay proud, Bluejay proud. About when would you say, John, just on curiosity, when would you say our downtime actually is? When would you say the only time of year is that we don't really do a whole lot?
Well, the priorities happen all the rest of the year, except it's hard to believe, but actually that first week of school where our students are in the classes and our teachers are busy and we've laid the groundwork for that school year, that's really the time that my emails and my phone calls and everything kind of slow down a little bit. And so that's also a great time to get out to the buildings, welcome the students. I know as central office administrators, we're at every single building on that first day, drying the tears, especially at Pine River and our elementary schools. And it's not the students, it's usually the parents, because their kindergartners are going off to school for the first time. And so we try to calm the parents down, and the kids are excited to be back. And so really it's that first week of school, I would say. If there's any slowdown at all for our school year, it's that first week of school, because everything else is so busy, and then we can kind of visit our buildings and see what we've laid as a foundation for that school year.
I would say the holiday log jam of Christmas and New Year's.
Christmas, New Year's, spring break is not a bad time. Yeah.
Pretty slow, pretty dry cut for us, but.
Yeah, and I've been able to take off Christmas every single year, so that's a blessing.
That's a blessing. So, we got anything else, John, or?
No, I think that about does it. One thing I think I failed to mention was that Karen Baker had a long overdue training. As you know, we're trying to be trauma informed and trauma sensitive. And so she held nonviolent crisis intervention training, as well as the youth mental health first aid training for our staff. And that was during one of those snow makeup days where our students met their minutes of instruction, but our staff had to fulfill their contract. And so we brought them in, and that was a great opportunity for her to bring in 9 or 10 different specialists. We broke them all out in the high school and really started to understand what some of our students are dealing with when it comes to trauma and the ACEs, the adverse childhood experiences. And so we're becoming much more trauma informed in that way. But you know, it just seems like yesterday that we were shaking hands at graduation, and now here we are really gearing up for budgetary purposes, for what our students can expect next year, enhancing our tech ed programs, and welcoming our new faces to the Bluejay family. And that's always really exciting too. I don't have the opportunity in my position to sit in on many interviews, but I certainly do when we bring all of our new teachers back in the boardroom for 3 days, take them through the new teacher in service, and welcome them to MAPS. And that's when I get an opportunity to say, hey, here's what we're about, and this is what's going to make your stay in a career here in Merrill beneficial.
Right, and there's so many good things about Merrill, all the clubs, all the teams. I mean,
yeah, everywhere you look, there's something for everybody here in Merrill. I may be the furthest traveled, I think, but I made Merrill my home, and I'm really proud of our community and proud of this area. And on a day like this, it'd be nice to get out and get on one of the lakes, or just take a hike, or do some biking on some of our trails.
Right. I mean, you didn't just come here. You looked for here. That's something I think
Yeah.
we've pointed out on Bluejay Chat before, but that's still a valid point. You went from Phoenix, Arizona, and searched out Merrill, Wisconsin.
I researched central Wisconsin, started in Wausau, and once an opening became available in Merrill, everything worked out for me, and you guys are stuck with me now for a while.
Hey, you know what? I'd rather be stuck with you than a few other people that I've known in my life. So,
I appreciate that.
well, John, I guess that's really it.
I think that does it. And next time we'll be able to talk about some of the upcoming administrator board retreats that we're going to have this summer, because we work very collaboratively together. And so we've got some trainings and some retreats. We're going to talk about how we close out our district scorecard, which has to do with the service we provide our students, the achievement levels that they reach, what we do budgetarily. And we'll start a whole new district scorecard. We'll ramp up our goals a little bit, increase our percentages, and continue to shoot for the moon. So real exciting time, really, summer. It's not a downtime, but it's an exciting time.
It's an exciting time because we get ready for those new kindergartners coming in too, don't we?
That's always a lot of fun. I love seeing kindergartners go to school for the very first time. Even if they were involved in the 4K program, it's nothing like setting foot into the elementaries. And then when our 3-year-olds come into Pine River, that is really nice, because, you know, I look back, and even just the 10 years that I've been here, those graduates were in 2nd grade when I started. And so it's going to be a few more years where I'll be able to see a kindergartner actually come all the way through and graduate since I've been here.
Yeah, but that's still a fun experience, isn't it?
Oh, it's a great experience.
So,
Yeah.
how long have you been teaching again?
Teaching now, this is my 30th year. I just finished up my 30th year, so I'll be starting my 31st year, and this will be my 11th year in Merrill.
All right, what was your subject that you used to teach?
I was a special education teacher.
Just a special, okay.
Yeah.
You know what would be fun for me is if one of these times we get all the administrators together that taught. So like Gerald Byer, I know he was a math teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Actually see them in their own environment.
That would be nice.
Their old environment, just sitting there teaching and having the teachers get to relax and see how their curriculum's taught by another teacher.
Absolutely, and have Brian Dasher step into a math class. He was a math guy as well.
Yeah, I know there was one time where we had a substitute in my 8th grade, just a little tangent story. 8th grade, Gerald Byer was the principal at the time. My 8th grade algebra teacher had to leave for a half a day and couldn't get a sub. So Gerald stepped in and taught the class, and let me tell you, I think that was the most fun I've had in a math class in a long time.
Fantastic.
So that's where it's like, I'd like to see some of your administration team go and actually teach.
I'd like the idea. In fact, I'm going to make a note of it, because that would put Tricia Dietert in the tech ed program. She was actually a tech ed teacher for a number of years.
Throw Dale in.
We could throw Dale in there.
Even though he's never taught, but I think
Sure.
I think he'd be a great tech ed teacher.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. And I'll step in and I'll take over for Steve Wykes or any. I can take over for Bethany Martinovich. That would be great. Now, what are they going to do while we're teaching? They can go do our job.
Sit there, score you guys.
Well, they can observe and evaluate us. Yeah.
Or see how the students react to a different teacher.
Sure. Sure.
Because I know they have subs all the time, but you never see how a student will react to another teacher. Because I could think of several classes where a sub come in and the class was completely different depending on how the sub was.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things. That's the only drawback to my position, because I love what I do and I'm passionate about what I do, but I do miss the students. But I also have the freedom to see students in many different settings and many different grade levels.
Right, exactly.
But not working with them day to day took a little bit of a transition for me. But I do have the freedom to be able to move around and see them in different environments.
Right, but I still say that'd be a lot of fun just for like one day out of the year. The administration team just kind of breaks off of their actual jobs and goes help sub or do something along those lines.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that too, because part of appreciation and retaining and attracting quality teachers, that's one of my plans as central office administrators throughout the year are going to surprise people that are doing bus duty, especially on those winter days, and just come up, tap them on the shoulder saying, what are your responsibilities here? I'll take over. Why don't you go do something else that you need to do, of course, professionally related. And so I've talked about swapping things out, but we'll have to do that for an entire day. Maybe they can be superintendent for the day and I'll go teach for them.
how some of those teachers would be, though, as superintendent. They probably look at you and go, well, you got the hardest job you can keep.
But we've got Tammy, so Tammy
got
can
Tammy,
guide them.
though.
That's right.
Tammy does about everything for you, doesn't she?
Yes, she does. She makes me look great.
All right, are we ready to call it a day?
I think so.
All right, this was a great episode, I think.
Yeah, and thank you very much. I always appreciate this opportunity. I wish it could be more than just monthly.
We could talk about that.
Okay.
We could talk about that, because I know I've got several outside sources that want to come in and start up some own talk shows of their own. So maybe we'll have to work on that.
That would be great.
Bluejay Chat even bigger.
That would be great.
That's my new campaign this year. Make Bluejay Chat better.
But you're already doing great, so I appreciate this opportunity.
All right. Well, for John Sample and myself, thanks for watching Bluejay Chat. Have a great day.